Hello guys, in this tutorial I will be showing you how you can make a Navbar using Flexbox, and I'll show you multiple ways of doing it, so let's start. Firstly, we need 4, so let's do 8 times 4. So we're gonna have a Navbar and we're gonna have 4 links. Okay, so let's go back here. Just gonna add some basic styles for that, and we're also gonna add some basic styles for nav. So this is all we have for now. So what I would suggest, if you wanna be able to move this around however you want, I would suggest having a div here, which I usually call container. And that should be inside the nav, and it should hold all the links here. This way we can mess around and move them however we like. So we're gonna make a class for container here. Actually, we can do it under the nav as well, because we're not gonna have multiple, so let's just do it here. Let's say 1000 pixels. Actually, let's do a bit more. Let's do 1200, and let's add a border so you can see it. So that's our container. So this way we're flexible to make this whatever we want. We can make it bigger. If we don't want that, we can make it smaller. We can do whatever we want. So let's just do 1400 for now, and let's comment this out. So the first way, if we want these links to be on the right, we can do that. So the first thing we need to do is add display flex. And that's not going to change anything yet. So if we wanted to move them here, we could use justify content flex end. That's going to move them on the right side. And if you remember, for example, we want them to be here. Now, instead of adding margin to it, we can decrease the max width of the container to 1200, 4000, whatever we want. So that would be the first way. If you want them on the left, they're already there by default, but if they were here and you wanted to put them on the left, you could do flex start, which is not going to do anything right now since this is the default when they start. And the last thing, if you want them centered, we can add center here. And that's going to center all the links, and then you can add a bit of margin here. For example. So that would be 3 ways of how you can place your anchor links, but maybe we want to have a logo here. So if we had a logo here before the links, I'm going to make a div class of logo, and I'm going to have an h2 here. So now, once we have multiple elements, there's one thing we need to fix first. If I remove justify content, you can see the links are at the top and the logo is not. So to align them vertically, you would add align items, set that to center, so now they're both looking the same. So what if we wanted to put the links on the right in our case? If we did the same thing with justify content, that's going to move both of them. So we don't want that for sure. So what we need to do, we need to wrap links in a div. So this doesn't have to be in a div, I just added the logo here, this could just be h2, but we need to wrap all the links in a div. And the reason for that is because we're gonna be using something called space between here. So I'll show you how it works right now without a div. So that would add space between all of them, right? So if we comment out the logo, this is how it looks. I don't think anyone's gonna be using Navbar like this, but there's space between, which adds space only between them. There's space evenly, which adds even space on each side of them. And then there is space around, which adds space around them. So the thing you're mostly gonna use is space between, that we're gonna be using now. But in our case, we don't wanna have, we want all of our links to be on the right and logo on the left. So let's add the logo back. So like I said, we're gonna need to add a div here, let's call it menu, and we're gonna wrap our anchor link. So if we do that, our links move to the right. So I'll just comment this out so you can see how it looks at the beginning and how it looks with space between. And the reason for this is because now we're doing the space between one div here and the second div here. So we have a div with class of logo and div with a class of menu. So we're adding space between these two divs. So we're only adding space between logo and menu. But if we don't have the divs, it's gonna add space to 1, 2, 3, 4 elements here, and logo would be 5th. That's why it looks completely different without the divs. So always, if you plan on doing something like this, having something on the left and on the right, unless you don't have multiple elements. So for example, if we only had one link, we wouldn't need to wrap this in a div. I'll show you that as well. So I'll comment this out and I'll just add one link here so you can see. So that's gonna work because it only adds space between the div and the anchor link because we only have two things. So that's another way to go to it, and maybe we want to have a button here. So under the menu we want to add a button. So now that's instantly gonna work because now it's adding space between our div with a class of logo, our div with a class of menu, and a button. So we have, like, imagine we had 3 different divs, even if this is a button. So 3 different divs, let's say. So it adds space between from first to second and from second to third here. And then again, if space between is probably what we're gonna use mostly, but we can add space evenly again. If you want something looking like this. But if you only want to decrease space, that's why we made this container. If you either want to increase or decrease space, so we can set this to 1000, we can set it to 1400. If we only wanted a bit of space, we can maybe set this to like 90%. So it looks like that. Let's just put this back at 1200. So also, I want to remove this button now, and let's say we had logo under the menu. So by accident we did something and then we have the logo under our menu. So if we didn't want this and we wanted the logo on the left, we still don't need to change the HTML because with Flex you can actually reverse the elements. So how would you do that is we can add Flex direction. So row is the default, so once you add display flex, flex direction is row by default, so you never want to type this out when you type display flex. But instead of row, we want row reverse, so we want to reverse this logo on the left and we want to move the links on the right. So we can do that through CSS as well. So we can do row reverse. Now our logo is on the left and our links are on the right. And that would be it for this tutorial, guys. I hope you learned something new. There are plenty of ways you can make the Navbar with Flexbox. I showed you a few of them. I hope you liked this tutorial and you learned something. Thank you for watching and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.